So when you're first starting out outlining, it's tempting to just skip the outline stage. Just go straight to pages, knock out a vomit draft, hope to fix it all later. But why do that to your future self? Outlining is basically time travel for screenwriters. You're gifting future you a blueprint for how to write the next great, movie or binge-worthy TV show.
Some people try and do like a Mad Libs logline, like this character in this world, in this time setting is trying to this. And if they don't do it, then these are the consequences. But here are the obstacles in their way. So you're basically filling all those in. If you're missing one right there from the logline step, you realize, oh wait, I should work out my story a little bit more.
You should definitely be able to see what the conflict of the movie is going to be in that logline.
Once we're confident in the logline, we're gonna write it out just purely as a story. Usually like 3 paragraphs, each paragraph dedicated to an act. So we're making sure that this story has a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Yeah, or if it's a TV pilot, we'll write out a paragraph for each A, B, and C storyline. And we never go more than a page.
It's just a way to stay very blue skies, very macro, and make sure just at that larger level, the story works. We don't, at this stage, have the ton of specifics yet, but we know what they need to be in general. So we'll write things like, he does a big sacrifice for his ex. We don't actually know what the sacrifice is yet. That's a later problem.
Here we just need to know, does the story check out? Are these characters you want to see? Is this the journey that's necessary for character growth? Will this be a satisfying ending? You figure these things out now, and future you is going to be eternally grateful.
We break our stories out into those 8, roughly 15-page blocks of story. So we'll have 2 for Act 1, 4 for Act 2, and then 2 for Act 3.
We just find that it's more manageable to write in those story blocks. And also, if you treat each one as kind of a mini story with a beginning, middle, and end, it always keeps the script moving ahead with purpose.
We don't keep it as macro as just hero's journey headlines, but we do use broad headline titles. It'll basically give you a sense of what that section is going to be about. So it'll be like, the truth comes out, or preparing for the big event, that kind of thing.
Once we have these big headlines, we write short bullet points under each one for the scenes that need to happen to get from the beginning of that story block to the ending, which ideally asks a question or ends with a story beat that propels us into that next broad sequence. So we treat it as a true blueprint for the script. So it needs to be as worked out as possible. We even put scene headings in there. And with the comedy, it needs to have all the fun setups and payoffs and the big comic set pieces before we go to pages. And so we sometimes write in dialogue, but we don't get bogged down in that. We found that funny dialogue can hide story weaknesses. So the project has to be funny in paragraph form, just at a pure conceptual level for each scene before we move on. It pretty much is a roadmap the entire way, which is kind of nice because it means that writer's block isn't really a thing. So when we sit down in front of our computer first thing in the morning, we may not know exactly how we're going to tackle a scene, but we know what we're going to be writing that day.
If you've done all the hard work at the beat sheet level, it's now just having fun. Now you're just finding all the little details and the character moments that surprise you. They pop up as you're fleshing it all out. That is in WriterDuet. So we're actually building out from the outline, and we are just making it 90 pages longer.
Right, and that's the gift of an outline. It just makes it easier to make those changes because when you're writing forward, you know what's coming.
But also, it helps you write backwards. There's the time travel, right? All those little discoveries along the way, you don't want to get rid of them, but having them land this late, it feels kind of out of left field. But if you go back in the outline, you can just kind of skim backwards and find a great place to put in the setup for it, so then it feels organic. So at the end of the day, your screenwriting, it's making all these connections from the beginning to the end, back and forth, and you should be able to, at that macro level, look it over and connect all the dots that highlight the character's arc or all the scenes that make this twist work. You're building an outline. It's like building a cheat sheet to your own story.
Outlining is super hard, but not outlining is just infinitely harder. So just do the heavy lifting up front and your future self will thank you. Or, don't, but who in their right mind is going to turn down a free time machine?